Hey, it's Mr. Mcquay again. Yesterday we started to convert our ratios using customary units and do some solving of conversions. And there was a lot of confusion. So what I want to do is you're getting a new homework, and I'm going to work through the homework showing you some different things if you have trouble. Again, don't just watch this like you're watching SpongeBob. Don't watch it all the way through. Have your worksheet, work on problem 4, and then if you're having trouble with problem 4, do your best. Then stop, watch this through problem 4, and then try it yourself. Don't just copy the answer down, and don't just watch this all the way through. Okay, so we talked about setting this up, and you have a conversion chart. It's kind of salmon color. And the first thing, we got some really easy ones, and we'll start with the easy ones, and then we'll work to some a little harder ones. But the easy one here is we're going 6 miles, 2 feet. So it already gives us the conversion because we don't know if you took the conversion chart home. But on the conversion chart, you're looking for miles to feet. And so we have 5,280 feet per 1 mile. Now, does it matter which one goes on top, which one goes on bottom? No. We can do it the other way too. It doesn't matter. What matters is you have to keep them the same across. Okay, so as long as I keep them the same, so what do I mean by that? So this is equivalent. What I mean by that, if miles are on top, miles have to be on top. If feet are on bottom, feet have to be on bottom. Now, if you put the feet up on top, they have to stay on top. Okay, so just keep it consistent. As long as you keep it consistent, you are fine. Okay, so what do we have? We have 6 miles, and we want to know what that is in feet. So we're going to put 6 up here. And I like writing it out all the way, x feet, because we don't know what feet they are. Write out what it is, miles, feet, keep it the same. Okay, so now we have to ask ourselves, how do we go from 1 mile to 6 miles? Well, that's kind of easy. We multiply 1 times 6. So if we times this by 6, we get 6 miles. So we have to times this by 6. Okay? So 6 miles equals how many feet? Well, 1 mile is 5,280 feet. I times that by 6, and I get 31,680. So x equals that in feet. Okay, now that is one way to do it. That is taking and going up or down by equivalent fractions. We're just kind of going up or down depending on what we need. There is another way to do this, and you can use either way. I'm going to show you both because sometimes they're not real nice. Sometimes it's hard to understand what to multiply or divide by. So I'm going to show you this way. And this is the way your parents probably know. So I'm just rewriting this. And this is called cross multiplication. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this ratio. We have 3 numbers, and we have a variable we don't know. This variable can be in any spot. Okay, depending on the problem, this variable might be over here, it might be here, it might be here, it might be here. It can be in different spots, and it doesn't matter. So in this way, when we do cross multiplication, what you do is you look for the 2 that are across from each other. Okay, see how these 2 are across from each other? I'm just going to make a line because those 2 are across from each other. And what we're going to do is we're going to multiply those 2 together, just like in cross product, cross multiplication, we're going to multiply those 2. And then whatever number is left, it can be in this spot or it could be in this spot, you divide by. Now obviously this is a 1, so dividing by 1 will be the same number, but just for giggles, we're going to practice it the way, just in case that, we're going to practice it the way that we would do it. So I'm going to multiply 5,280 by 6, and I'm going to divide by 1. Okay, that's going to be how many feet? Now let's see if we get the same answer. So 5,280 times 6 equals 31,681 divided by 1, which will keep it the same. So we get the same answer. It's just that when it gets a little weird, when the ratios get a little weird, it's an easy way of doing it, and it stays the same all the time. Okay, so let's try another one. Sculptor has 3 pounds block of clay. He adds 24 ounces. He adds 24 ounces of clay to the block in order to make a sculpture. What is the total weight of the clay before he begins sculpting? Okay, so this 3 pounds we're going to save for later because we're just going to add our 24 ounces to that. But you can't just add the 24 ounces to the 3 pounds because they're different. This is ounces and this is pounds. So we have to make that ounces into pounds. So let's write our ratio down. 1 pound equals 16 ounces. Okay. And what is so how many pounds do we have? Well, we don't know that. How many ounces do we have? Well, we have 24. And this is pounds. And I like to write that up there so I know what it is. So here's my conversion, and here's my problem. Okay, so this is going to help me get that. Where do I get this? I get it from either the problem or our salmon sheet that has the conversions. Okay, so now this one isn't quite as easy because we can't just say, oh, times this by, what times this. It's a little harder to figure out what times 16 equals 24. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite, because if we time something, 2 times 3 equals 6, and we can do the opposite or the inverse. 6 divided by 3 equals 2. We can do that, right? So here, because we don't know what this times something is that, we're going to do the inverse. We're going to start with the division. So 24 divided by this will tell us what to multiply it by. So 24 divided by 16. 24 divided by 16. I'm using my calculator, and it's 1.5. So 16 times 1.5 equals 24. So if I take 1 times 1.5, I will find the pounds. So x equals 1.5 pounds. Okay, now is my problem done? No, I have to add that 1.5 to 3 pounds because that's what I started with. So my answer is 4.5 pounds. Okay, so I'm going to show you the other way that we could do this, and that's the cross multiplying. So 1, I'm just going to rewrite this real quick. 16 equals x 24. Okay, so what am I timesing? I'm going to times across, and I'm going to divide by that. So 1 times 24 divided by 16 equals, and we'll see what we get. 24 times 1 is 24, divided by 16 is 1.5. Did I get the same? Yep, I did. I did get the same answer, 1.5. So either way, you can do it either way. All right, this one is pretty easy. So we want to go tons to pounds. And there's our conversion. And you can write this any way as long as you keep it the same. So I'm going to be different. I'm going to write that on top and 1 on bottom. Now, what does my problem say? My problem says 5.4 tons. So where does that go? On the ton line, 5.4 tons. Okay, now X is here because we don't know how many pounds it is. All right, we can do it either way. We could do cross multiplying or this other way. So I'm going to do it because this is a 1 down here. I'm just going to times this by 5.4 and then times this by 5.4, and that's going to be the easiest way. So how many tons? How many pounds is 5.4 tons? 2,000 times 5.4, and we get 10,000. So X equals 10,800 pounds. That's a lot. Okay. Now, this one here, this next problem, you're going to actually have to convert 2 ways. You're going to have to use both conversions. Now, this is really nice that it has it here, but on the test, we're going to just give you a conversion chart, and you have to look. So my hint to you is to look at what they started with. We have yards of ribbon, and Audrey uses 1.5 feet of ribbon to wrap her box. How many inches of ribbon does she have left? So we got to get to inches at the end. So maybe let's go from yards to feet. Let's do that. Let's go yards to feet first. So 1 yard. Oops, sorry. And I was just thinking as I was doing that, I'm going to move over because I'm going to need more room. 1 yard equals 3 feet. Okay, so how many feet do we have? We have 5 yards, and we want to know how many feet that is. So 5 yards, x feet. Okay, so how do I get from 1 to 5? Times it by 5. 3 times 5 is 15. So we have 15 feet of ribbon, and we use 1.5 feet. So minus 1.5, and that is 13.5. Okay, feet. So that's what we have left. How many inches of ribbon does she have left? So now we need to go from feet to inches. 1 foot equals 12 inches. And we have 13.5 feet. We want to know how many inches that is. Okay, so how do you go from 1 to 13? Well, we times it by 13. Times by 13.5. 12 times 13.5 equals 162. X equals 162. Now, could I have multiplied across? Yep, and then divided by what was left, which would have been 1. Yep, we could have done that. So this is how many inches she has left. Okay. All right, the next one I'm not going to do for you because you can do that. Let's do the kiddie pool. All right. Mr. V was filling up his kiddie pool. It holds 20 gallons of water. How many pints would it take? Okay, so we have a conversion of gallons to quarts, but nothing from gallons to pints. But we can go from quarts to pints. So let's figure out what it is in quarts. So 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. And we have 20 gallons that it's going to take, and we don't know how many quarts it is. That's a Q. Okay, so let's do cross multiplying this time. So 4, because I'm going to cross multiply, and then I'm going to divide by what's left. 4 times 20 divided by 1. And that's going to equal my quarts. So 4 times 20 is 60, divided by 1 is still 60. So we have 60 quarts. Okay, so 1 quart equals 2 pints. And we have 60 quarts. How many pints is that? All right, so we could do the cross multiplying again. 2 times 60 is 120. Times crossed, divide by what's left. And normally, a lot of times we don't have a nice neat 1 there. So this method works for anything. So 2 times 6 is 120 pints. So X equals 120 pints. Okay, there you go. So I showed you 2 different ways that we talked about in class. Make sure you practice this. This will be on the test, and you have to know it very fluently to be able to do well. If you have any questions, come see me in the morning.